Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Moai. Today we're going to be finally looking at Kome after a series of unfortunate events where the original footage for this video was not up to the quality that I needed it to be. I dropped, making this video. I was like, all right, I'm going to put this down, come back to it later. And so here we are. I finally figured out how I wanted to record this. So the first half of this is obviously going to be going over the build. However, the second half is going to be pre-recorded footage with no commentary because it is a very deep run, just showcasing the combination of how all of her decrees stack up to each other and create what I think is objectively the strongest weapons platform in the game, at least at this time. So, what the reason I wanted to make this video is I kind of had an epiphany when looking at Kome and how to build her and what can I do to improve her objectively, right? And it dawned on me that the reason why decrees are as strong as they are, especially in Duviri, is that a lot of the times you are given weapons and loadouts that are not built for it. You're given random stuff. You can't really plan for what you're getting in Duviri, right? But with Kome, you can actually have premeditation for what you are doing and what you are trying to aim for, because the pool of decrees that Kome has access to is actually small enough that she can kind of create builds and setups that you know lean into those decrees and are supplemented by the decrees and create quality of life in her builds, right? So, the first example I want to show you is that let's go over the actual build of Kome itself, right? Is I just build Kome almost like I would build an Aros, essentially. Just all health, all armor, because this is all going to play into her survivability, right? And that is kind of like the one area that she doesn't have a lot of decrees to help her with. She has a lot of healing ones, but not quite. Her only damage reducing decree is what is it called? I'll think of it here. Utility, Warframe. It is. It's one of these here, but it's basically the one that gives you Marauder's Nerve. That's it. That's it. That's what I'm thinking of. That gives you 3% damage reduction per decree that you have, up to 75%, and that is perfectly fine, especially when combined with Omekuji. The nice thing about this is that a lot of Kome's abilities don't really scale off of her stats very well. Like, you can do it and you can work with it, but it's very unnecessary, especially because you get, power strength supplemented by, the one that turns armor into power strength. Like, that one supplements that completely. Range isn't a super big deal to worry about. This is actually a pretty big range by default. It is 30 meters. That is huge. But moreover, like I said, I have, Arcane Blessing, Arcane Grace, all this stuff basically just to keep her tanky and keep her alive as you're doing your decrees and as you get stronger. Because again, a lot of her abilities, don't really need the stats of her Warframe itself to work. And again, are supplemented if they need be by the decrees themselves. A lot of them give energy efficiency. That one's really great. So, you can spam Thermal Sunder at some point to your heart's content if you need to. Omakuji, or Omamori rather, is very independent of her abilities as well. The benefits of it aren't affected by anything you really care about. So honestly, like, you could go for less tankiness if you want to, and maybe get some quality of life in here if you really feel like it. Again, you have adaptation stacking with Marauder's Nerve as well. That really helps her survive for long periods of time. The aura can be whatever you want. I just chose Dreamer's Bond since it's easy and I don't have to think about it. But more onto her weapons. The weapons are what really make her build do what it does and make it how powerful it can be. So we'll start with this can be a couple of things. Another really cool one is the Archiplasmor. Archiplasmor is great. I will showcase the build for that as well momentarily. But Ogress. Ogress gets really fun because there's a combination of decrees. Irresistible Bombardment. Yeah, Irresistible Bombardment and Grim Armory combined together. So Irresistible Bombardment, what it does is every time you shoot, you increase your fire rate up to, 100, 200, 300, depending on the rank of the decree. And then Grim Armory is 5, 10, I think 25. Uh, Chance to refill the clip of your ammo, not from your ammo reserve, the clip of your ammo. You just get ammo out of nowhere and refill that immediately. So what those end up doing is it creates basically a bottomless clip with a massive fire rate that can allow some of these weapons to clear rooms very, very rapidly. You do need to hit a certain fire rate threshold for it to work. This is fine. I think that 1.5 is typically more than enough. You might need multiple ranks of irresistible bombardment to hit it, but again, that shouldn't be an issue. If you really want the comfort, you can fill into that. So because of the damage you get from a lot of your things, like you have Wormling's Aid that just gives you free corrosive on all your hits for no reason. You get damage when moving. There's so many damage decrees that just flow into your weapon and do lots and lots and lots of supplemental damage that you can really go full quality of life with your build if you really want to. So I chose the 2 magazine capacity mods here just to really push that up, because there is also another augment as well. It's a munitions one. Basically, it gives you a plus 100 magazine size, so the more magazine you have, the bigger it is, and it also feeds into irresistible bombardment and grim armory, creating a massive just feedback loop of bullshit, and it turns the Ogress into a rapid fire nuclear bomb, which you will see in uh the post showcase video. The second one that I have is Hystrix Prime. Hystrix Prime, I think, is necessary for Kome because it does something that no other weapon can do, is that it succeeds all of her succeeds. It succeeds in all of her challenges very, very easily because of the ability to switch elements. A lot of her challenges are, oh, kill 25 enemies with heat damage. Oh, I can swap to heat damage and then do that very easily. And so on and so forth. There's one for all 4 basic elements, and this clears all of them very, very nicely, makes it convenient, makes it easy to use. And so that's why I've gone with this. This can be whatever you want for the Hystrix. There's no particular thing that you need for it. This is just my personal build. Again, what matters most is that you are using the Hystrix in and of itself to fulfill those requirements. And then lastly, the Dual Vicious, or Viscous, however you want to pronounce it. This melee influence gets absolutely ridiculous with Kome, because you have things like Smoldering Strike, which gives you free heat damage just attached to your thing, or critical hits deal extra frost, so you get heat and frost, and that's more for condition overload. And then you get one that's like, oh, on crit you get attack speed, or oh, Vicious Barb, crit damage is doubled. Twofold Torment, status effects deal double damage for some reason. There's so many different, you know, decrees that really, really take influence from being, really, really good to absolutely disgustingly busted. Where it will just basically almost one-shot everything in a room, even just tapping an enemy a couple times. Because not only is this really good by itself, because you have viral, gas, and electricity, all of those compounding on top of each other and getting an attack speed boost from doing gas status effects, this is a really, really good melee for Kome to be using. And it really supplements the rest of her kit very, very well. If you're in a long survival, it helps. If you're falling behind on life support trying to do her challenges, this will get you right back up there. Great DPS. But that is going to be it for this segment of the video. You will now see a commentary-less version of the weapon showcase where she has been all built up. Now, I know that the argument is that, oh, well, she requires a long time to, build up all her decrees, and you're not guaranteed. Well, that is true up to a certain extent, but law of probability dictates that you will eventually get everything that you want over the course of a, long mission. Like, if you're sitting in a survival doing relic farms, Kome is going to do absolutely phenomenally. And when you see what I'm about to show you, I think you will agree that I don't think there's a single other frame I can think of that can buff weapons to the extent that Kome can, especially when you are planning specifically around it. So I will see you all there.